A little bit colder out here than last week. I just had something on my heart that I wanted to say, and it's going to be aggressive. And people have this conception that authenticity, real true hip hop, comes from New York. It started there as far as the music is concerned, but if you really look back on what hip hop really represents, hip hop represents freedom. It also represents the struggle of what black folks have gone through in this country. It's not the, we shall overcome type emotion of anger. It's not the let's come down and reason together. Because the reasoning together and the overcoming, that's clearly been ignored. Hip hop is here. And I believe whatever you call God, source energy, the universe, whatever it is, it did have black people in America favored in such a way because of our tenacity, our longevity, our strength, and the fact that what had happened to us overall, the kidnapping from our country, the acting as if we're not even human beings, the violence that we had went through. We're resilient. White supremacy understands that the number one objective of that is to never let black people have any type of stance on equality. White supremacy doesn't want a side-by-side partner. It wants dominance, and it is rooted in terror. That's what white supremacy is. Hip-hop is the complete opposite. It's the rival. It's the, if you call white supremacy natural evil, hip-hop is natural love. It represents the type of aggression, the type of energy that we love hard. Oh my God, black people love so hard. We love hard. This is why when you see these videos where these women are going through their relationship issues, and you can see the heartbreak when whatever their situation happened to them, whether they were cheated on, whether they just came to a conclusion where they can no longer be with a partner, it devastates them in a way. And I can tell you from experience, because my mother was a single woman, and my father was not. And those motherfuckers fucked around and made me. And ultimately, when it really came down to it, my father stayed with his family. And that was a devastating thing to my mother. I don't know a lot about the background of their relationship. I'm trying to illustrate a point that although my mother was able to move on and love again, although she was able to raise me to the best of her ability, she never quite got over that situation. And quite honestly, my dad I really believe he really wanted to be with my mama instead. So there's that. And I can only tell you that I know that for sure is because of what happened at the end of my dad's life when he began to get dementia and Alzheimer's. I had some really intense moments with him during that period. But there were some times where he would just space off and talk about my mama in a way that it was just, I wasn't necessarily shocked, but it was just interesting to hear how he really, really felt about, like he had a deep love for my mama. And I believe my mom had that same amount of deep love for his punk ass. But he did her dirty. But I'm giving an example of how hard she loved. Black women are the backbone of not just the black community. They are the backbone of this earth. They are the first ones here. Black women are the first ones here. And with the same amount of love and nurturing that they have that can create whole nations, that same, when it's betrayed, it could go beyond the means of all types of anger that you would ever consider. So God, I believe, instilled what we see as hip hop in my mama and in black people, in this spirit of what we needed to do to combat white supremacy. That's what it did. That's what it is. Hip hop is the rival. And, you know, over the years, we've gotten a lot of good business out of hip hop. You know, this is the perfect example of creating something and then figuring out how to monetize it. That's what hip hop is. At first, people just did it for fun, and then the next thing you know, we have Jay-Z, who's a billionaire. That is it. What we know is hip hop today, it did come from New York, the Bronx to be specific, but the spirit of it goes further back than you can ever imagine. The spirit of hip hop. Nat Turner had the spirit of hip hop. When you hear that a lot of these slaves, they just wasn't going along with the program. You can even look the movie Django. They was beating the shit out of his woman because she kept trying to escape. You know, it was revolt. She was trying to escape because she couldn't fight back. It was only just her. And, you know, you've always had those individuals who wanted to say, fuck the system and fuck you. And they take a little bit of shit, and then they take a lot of shit. And then after they done taking shit, they shit on people. And I'm talking about that in the most brutal fashion. Because we are peaceful people by nature. So, if we can create ways to help us deal with the pain and move from it, we can also create ways to literally be a physical, formidable opponent to white supremacy. Now that's a little bit deep. I don't want to go too far into that because this is about current day hip hop.